Alright, gonna try to finish up Yakuza Kiwami here. I guess I'm gonna quickly try to get rid of all the crap I'm currently carrying and get as many healing items as humanly possible. Not want to get stuck in the endgame, unable to progress. I think that's really good. Let's keep doing this. I think that's probably the way to go. Thank you. Yeah, it sounds like there's a bunch of sub-stories that have really bizarre requirements that no one's really gone to the trouble of documenting, and that stops being the case in basically any other Yakuza game. Very strange, though. Probably a very small minority of players who are doing some sub-stories but don't 100% the game.
もう準備は整いましたか。ああ、もう大丈夫だ。わかりました。桐生さん。
Yeah. A lot of them are just like someone tries to scam you, you punch them, but that's it. Like that's the whole sub story.
頑張ってください。ああ、わかった。ありがとうな。なんだか外の様子がいつもと少し違う感じがします。気をつけてください。
あそこにお母さんが。
そうだ。やっと会えるな。
おじさん、私なんて呼べばいいんだろう。
ユミお姉ちゃんって呼ぶのか。お母さんでいいんだ、はるか。
I don't know if she's okay with that, but. Ah, okay. They actually explained the fake Mizuki.
登場界の4代目から直々の褒美が出る。
4代目？
金持ちも女もな。何年ぶち込まれても釣りが来るぜ。今夜は暑いぜ。なんせ殺しのお墨付きだ。次期会長錦山さんのな。
はるか。心配するな。何があってもお前を守る。必ずユミに合わせてやる。信じてくれるな。
うん、やっつけて、おじさん。
手加減はしねえ。死にてえやつだけかかってこい。
I feel like handheld weapons generally don't get auto picked up by beasts, but some things do? It's weird. So they're picked up the bat automatically. He's got me stun locked here. I literally can't get away from him. Oh, they're just gonna fight a million guys. Like, of course you do. Maybe that kettle has a unique heat action. Looks like it does. Yes. Decide, do I dislike Dynasty Warriors more than I dislike Spectacle Warriors? Probably. Just like for similar reasons. I really like this theme. They use it a lot in the main story. Probably actually want that. Trigger right trigger. Oh, that's super noticeable. Should have gotten that earlier. Come on, man. I think like enemies sometimes get enraged, which like substantially increases their I don't know if they like become difficult to stagger or something, but whenever I see it happen in this game, I feel like they just stun lock me while it's up. Really noticeable. This baseball bat technically can be picked up by Beast. The more heat I have, the harder it is to get into climax heat. Kind of funny. Anti-government student activist? Sarah. We get a lot of Sarah in Yakuza 0.
こいつはジング誰だ
Do it in the dark, man. Jingu seems like a Zeromus style last second antagonist. Really be curious to be a fly on the wall in the development of this game, because I wonder if there was some kind of mandate to change the story. It makes so much more sense for it to just be a small story about Nishiki, Yumi, and Kiryu. it all has to be like awkwardly explained with 11th hour exposition. Whereas everything else is like very thoroughly set up throughout the rest of the game. A lot of guns. God damn it. So fucking frustrating. One has blades or guns. I do think they probably just shouldn't have guns at all, because like, the only way for them to possibly not be busted is for characters to not spam them constantly. Jesus Christ. Knife assholes. Seen any new loot pickups around? I'm sure there's some somewhere. But yeah, they just like roll around on the ground. The guns are much better than the worn-out handgun. Come on, man. I'm trying to pick up the gun. Trying to do the buff thing there, but it wasn't working for some reason. Way to stay somewhere safe, Haruka. Proud of you.
急ぎましょう、伊達さん。
須藤、お前。
時間がないです。早く。
須藤、お前、こんなことして大丈夫なのか。
横浜で伊達さんに言われて気になったんです。それで自分で神宮を内定してみたら、神宮が世良と繋がっていることが分かりました。あの100億は神宮の金だったんです。
そりゃ分かってる。
ですが、私にはもっと別の裏があるように思えるんです。神宮はあの金を取り返して何に使うのか。
神宮の本当の目的か。
はい、別の組織と繋がっているのかもしれない。登場会と MIA、 それ以外の組織の影を感じるんです。
刑事の勘ってやつか。
ええ、まあ私も伊達さんの弟子ですから。私たちも自分の目で確かめに行きましょう。
That's her.
Yumi。
カズマ。はるか。
Please don't fridge her. Oh, this. I feel like Yakuza is not that miserable.
分かってる。はるか。お母さん。お母さんなんだよね。はるか。
Aw.
ごめんね。辛い思いさせてごめんね。お母さん。私ね、お母さんね、本当はあなたと一緒にいたかった。
Now that you've had your heartfelt reunion,
自分が
now
お
she's
母さ
gonna
んだって
die.
いうことができなかったの。いいよ、お母さん、分かってるから。私、嬉しいよ。おじさん。
よかったな、はるか。
おかえりなさい、カズマ。
Yeah, there's no way. She's getting fridged. That's too bad.
遅くなって悪かったな、ユミ。なんだ。
きっと彼が来たのよ。奪われたものを取り返しに。
Have to assume sometimes they won't do it though, because not just constant rock star misery, right?
久しぶりじゃないか。ユミ、それにハルか。
お前が
I really don't like Jingu. It's
こうして会うのは初めてだね。
a game that's like 90% of the way to
初め
being
ましてと
fucking
言うべ
brilliant.
きか、さようならと言うべきか。君には苦労させられたよ。
100億を取り返しに来たのね。
ああ、そうだ。
And then
当然の
Necron
話
shows
さ
up.
それはもともと私の金だからね。それに他にもいろいろ処分しに来たのさ。
何
Oh,
ジングお前
now he's bloodlusted.
まあヤクザなど皆こんなものか。
お前どうして自分の娘を撃てるんだ。
仕方ないことさ。その子供は私にとって邪魔者でしかない。私の今
Cartoonish.
後いや、この国の今後のためには必要のないものなのだよ。
自分が愛した女とできた子、どうしてそんな簡単に。
カズマ、この人にはそんなこと言っても無駄よ。この人の頭の中にはそんな感情はないの。自分が出世することしか考えてない。
This would be so much more satisfying
何
if
が
it was
分
a
かった
showdown
よう
with
なことを言
Nishiki.
ってるんだ。私に捨てられた女に何が分かるというんだ。知ったような口を叩くんじゃない。
私にはわかるわ。どうしてセラさんがあなたを裏切ったか。あなたは国のため、政治のためと言って
Really
全
just
てを
like
切
when
り
a
捨て
big
て
bad
生き
like
てい
this is
る。
introduced at the last
でも
second.
ね、それは全部言い訳。結局は自分がのし上がるための理由でしかない。そんな信念はすぐに嘘と分かってしまう。
ふざけるな。お前やセラごときに私の何が分かるというのだ。
ユミ、
あなたには何を言っても無駄ね。自分が恥ずかしくないの。
ずいぶんな言いようじゃ
Oh,
な
that
いか。
guy in the back is standing stock still.
もうそんなことはどうでもいい。
Two of them
こ
actually.
こでお前らは終わりなんだからな。
そうかな。まだ終わってへんのちゃうか。
寺だ。
これで力は五分五分や。風間さんの意志はまだ生きとるんやで。なんやねん。
これだから頭のない極道は困る。やる。
どういうことや。お前ら。
あなたまさか。
そうだよ。私は登場界から近江連合にくら替えしたんだ。
Well,
バックの組織をな。
なんだと。
私は着々と進めていたんだ。登場界を捨てて近江連合と協力関係を築く計画をね。
そんな
was there
話
any kind of
俺は
like,
知らんぞ。
I guess it's impossible to know this with
お
hindsight,
前は
but
近江連
did
合
they
の
know that they
五代
wanted to
目
make this into a
に踊らされ
franchise
て
when
い
it
た
first
だけ
the,
なん
the
だ
original
からな。
Yakuza came out?
もう1年前から話は進んでいたんだよ。5代目と私の間でね。私はセラが私を裏切ることは分かっていた。
That's interesting. So
彼
that's
は融通の
not
利かない男だ
animating
った
the
から
story here at all, right? They're not like, oh, we need to like make sure we keep all the
ずっ
same
と私を
chess
支援して
pieces
きて
in
くれ
play
た
for
が
Yakuza 2.
結局は現実の前にくじけたんだ。
現実だと。
ああ、そうだ。君らに政治の話をしてもわからないだろうが、国を動かすには金と力が必要なのだよ。私にとって彼はその力だった。だが彼は変な信念のために私の理想から離れていったのだ。数年前、殺してくれたと思っていたユミが生きていると
Every
い
game
う
feels
こ
like
と
they're
を
not
知
sure
った
if it'd be
私
the
は
last.
セラ、いや登場界を捨てる腹積もりでいたんだよ。
それでお前は近江連合にすり寄った。
そうだ。私は近江連合に話を持ちかけた。近江連合としては私の政治力は魅力だ。政治と裏社会、この2つを牛耳ることができたら日本を操ることなど造作もないことだからな。
もしかしてこの100億は。
ああ、近江へと渡る。私としては登場界も潰れて
This feels like it was written by
まさに
somebody
一
else.
石
Like,
二鳥
I
という
swear, the
わけだ。
first 11, 10 chapters of the game are just brilliant, non-stop brilliant, good crime drama stuff.
彼に100億の話を吹き込んだのは私だ。出世欲に取りつかれた若造に餌を見せて動かしただけだ。彼は見事にその役目を果たしてくれた。
Like the original writer, like suddenly had a heart attack, and someone else had to like quickly finish it.
そしてさらに嬉しい誤算があった。君だ。君が現れてくれたおかげで登場界は崩壊寸前だ。本当にお礼を言いたい気分だよ。
ジング、貴様。
悔しいだろう。だがな、もう遅い。
Yumi like married this guy? I feel like that's more offensive than the Dojima patriarch guy assaulting her.
そんなことはさせないわ。
何を言っている。動くな。
What?
もうこれであなたは私を撃てない。これが爆発すれば店の中にある100億も一緒に消えてなくなる。私は100億をあなたには渡さない。一緒に爆発して。
At least she gets some agency at the end of the story and doesn't just get fridged.
そんなことをして何のメリットがあると言うんだ。
何にも分かってないのはあなたね。人間はそんな損得感情だけじゃ動かない。
True.
もっと熱い、もっと強い気持ちがあって初めて動くものなの。昔のあなたにはそんな気持ちがあった。だけど権力を持つことや出世することにあなたは溺れたの。
何を今さら何を言ってるんだ。
カズマ、
Props to them for the countdown that just stays on 27 the whole time. Appreciate that. Let's be real, that thing, the countdown is based on the drama.
なあジング、セラ会長はな、あんたが何を考えているかなんてお見通しだったんだよ。
何？
会長はあんたに気づいて欲しかったんだ。昔の強い信念があった時のあんた自身。
Well, that we have to like introduce this guy, explain that he's cool enough for Yumi to have fallen in love with him and married him, and then also became so corrupted by power in the space of like a 15-second scene, I guess, when he's first introduced. Longer than 15 seconds, but yeah, that's okay. The countdown lets us know that it is a bomb.
頼みます。
セラ、お前これ名前が入ってねえじゃねえか。
風間さん、俺は本来登場界仕切る器じゃありません。金儲けしかできねえヤクザです。後目は風間さんが決めてください。登場界を、極道の未来を託せる男を。
遺言状だと。
ああ、あんたは遺言状の存在を錦にちらつかせ、内部分裂を画策したんだろうが、本当にあったんだよ。会長とおやつさんが命がけで残したんだ。
うるさい！セラめ、この後に及んで私を舐めるような真似をしよって。そんなもん今となってはただの紙切れだ。
俺が死ねばなあ。だがそうはさせねえ。俺は風間のおやつさんや世良会長が残してくれたもんを守る。俺は登場界4代目。
Oh shit.
桐生一馬だ。
Are they going to undo that in the next game? Or maybe they'll keep it. Guess we'll see. Yes. Knock me down immediately while my temporary buff is running. Yes.
さすが一人でよくもそこまで頑張れるものだな。
何人でも相手になるぜ。
無理をするな。もう息も絶え絶えではないか。
Oh, that seems bad.
藤川杞憂、
伊達さん、
神宮恭平、今四課が逮捕
Oh,
状を請
at
求
the
した
last second, the cop is on our side.
殺人教唆。お前はもう
The shitty cop boss.
証拠は何もない。当たりだ。
やめろ。ダメだ、伊達さん、ここじゃ町に墜落する。くそ。伊
Oh,
達さん。
こうなった以上全員死んでもらうほかない。覚悟はいいね。
well, shit. But he kept like warning him that he was gonna lose his job. That he was just like he got promoted much earlier than Date. God, the number of times I activate that, I immediately get knocked down. Too damn high. Oh, come on, man. Seriously? How many shots can I get off on him here? Takes like no damage though. Thanks for the help, Doctor. I dropped my gun during the cutscene. Will you still be holding a weapon after a cutscene or a transition? Crazy that the bullet actually has to travel. Maybe it just uses the same like throwing system as everything else in the game. Let's see. He shot himself as a bullet. Got this infinity. Probably want to get the other one too, because I assume it's also an infinity. To discard it. Snake! Nope, not carrying it that time. Oh. Cool movement, dude. Ow, dick. Throwing grenades at me? Okay, man. Try doing that more. Actually use that gun, it turns out. Really? Do they actually stay dead eventually? The golden blackjack has like a ridiculous knockback effect on it or something. Yeah, I keep trying to like get my buff up, and the instant I go to activate it, I get knocked down. There's an interesting case to be made about certain video games where it's like, does things going badly for you feel uniquely bad compared to things going well for you, right? Because I feel like Souls games are games I always come back to as an example. Like when you die in a Souls game, it usually feels like it's your fault, I think. Like, I guess it doesn't have the opportunity to feel terribly bad, because usually when you do something badly, it's just like you're dead, right? It's not like for a couple seconds you're on the ground waiting to get back up. Not only such a great character, he's also a pretty bad boss fight. Hopefully I'm not going to regret using all of my weapons on the ads here. Every time. It's like they know to knock me down as soon as I activate it. Another phase here, isn't he? Yeah. I do like when they do the thing where like the actual boss just like falls over and dies instantly.
Nishikiyama君。
終わったか。これでようやく落ち着けるな。
錦。
なんだそりゃ。
It is. How'd you guess?
ユミ、バカなことはやめろ。
ダメよ。100億はあなたに渡さない。
ユミ、お前そんなに俺のことが憎いのか。まあそうだろうな。当然の話か。
錦、お前まだ諦めていないのか。
当たり前だ。俺はどんな犠牲を払っても登場界の跡目になる。
なあ錦、そりゃ無理だ。お前神宮に踊らされていたんだ。神宮の本当の目的はな。
なことは分かってる。分かってたんだよ俺は。
え？どういうこと？
言ったろ桐生。俺は10年前お前を裏切ったあの日から誰も信用しちゃいねえってな。神宮が俺に話を持ってきた時から信用しちゃいなかったんだ。
じゃあお前は全てを知ってた。
ああそうだ。俺は負けたくなかったんだよ。俺はお前に負けたくなかったんだよ、桐生。俺はユミを愛してる。だがユミは一度も俺を振り向いてはくれなかった。ユミの中にはお前しかいなかった。10年前の事件の後、俺の目の前からお前という存在が消えた。その時俺は決意したんだ。運命を変えるためにどんな犠牲も払うってな。
その犠牲が親さんやレーナだったっていうのか。
そうだ。俺は100億を手に入れ登場界を継ぐ。そしてお前から弓を奪い返す。それで初めて俺の運命が変えられるんだ。
Nishikiyama君。
I did like basically all the Nishiki scenes they added.
何？
そんなことして何になるの？そうやって変えた運命じゃ幸せになんてなれない。あなたは自分に都合の悪いことから逃げてるだけ。本当に運命を変えたいなら辛いことも全て受け止めて、それでも逃げないで立ち向かうことなんじゃないの？カズマやはるかのように。
うるさい！どうしてお前は俺を認めてくれないんだ！
錦、
なんだ？
俺にはお前の苦しさがわかる。俺は一番大切にしていたお前たちを失った。もう戻ろうと思っても10年前に戻ることはできねえ。もうその運命から逃げることはできねえ。だから決着をつけよ
う。なあ、決着をつけよう。 俺たちの戦いに。
Oh, shit. Definitely more satisfying as a antagonist. Although I wish he had been like the animating force behind most of the last like hour or so of story. Don't have that. Imagine that's kind of hard to unlock. One of these days I'll cast that and not get immediately knocked down. Got a fucking Sephiroth health bar over here. I got a bunch of level ups in there. We're gonna press those. Probably am gonna be wounded for most of this fight. Might activate that one by accident. Oh, that is. Bummer. Look out. Might actually be able to DPS through it here with this turned on. Not as good as being able to Kiwami more, obviously. Oh, do you get the Kiwami heat action for Dragon Style? Called Kiwami, right? I don't see where it is. Oh, that's pretty tricky. Rank SSS and Majima everywhere. Then defeat Majima 3 times. Good lord. It must be really cool since it works on like 2 enemies.
もあの人じゃ放っちまったんです。何でもするからさ。自分の目で確かめて人が何か必ずてっぺんに立ってやる。
Fucking time, man. I swear to God. One of those.
今更だがお前とはもう一度一緒にやりたかった。もっと来いよ。なんだそのパンチは。桐生行こうぜ。意識。
Nice. Now he's in his I can't be interrupted stage. Can't pick up the big sectional.
Yumi. これは
ごめんね。私、あなたのことずっと忘れられなかったの。記憶を取り戻した後もこうしてあなたのことを。私、弱い女だった。記憶を失ってからも本当はあなたのことだけはうっすらと覚えていたの。名前は思い出せない。でもあなたの笑顔や仕草が浮かんでいた。でも誰だかわからない。すべてを思い出せない。そんなあなたのことを待ち続けることができなかった。だから神宮のことを。でもね、はるかは何もかも失った私にとってたった一つの宝物だった。だからはるかとお別れに行った時、思わずこのペンダントをあげてしまったの。私の一番大切なものを持っていてほしかったから。はるか、私のせいで怖い思いさせてごめんね。 まだやらなきゃいけないことがあるの。
A nice touch that, like, the actual inside of the pendant doesn't matter. Whoa. Set it on fire.
このお金はあってはならない。だからもう。
Hey, she is gonna set it on fire. Saw the Dark Knight. Like, donate to charity. Oh, God damn it. Not this guy. Holy shit. Sorry, that's very serious, but kind of comical. Yep, she got fridged. It's even more interesting if we fridge the kid, but unfortunately this all happens in cutscene after he's defeated, right? Yeah, you gotta see how they actually move her in front there. Yeah, okay, Nishiki gets to redeem himself. I wonder what part of Nishiki existing here, or Jingu existing here, is to give Nishiki a way to redeem himself. Because he does need to redeem himself, right? How are we getting out of that one? Right. Just have somebody else that Nishiki at the last second. Like, that's cute. Nishiki, we're still in the room. Can you let us like go first?
Yumi.
I mean, she has to die. It kind of sucks, but she made it as far as she did.
やっとお母さんって言ってもらえたのに。
ユミ、10年前。いや、それよりずっと前から言えなくてすまなかった。好きだった。お前のことが。
Okay, you can be vulnerable when someone's dying.
カズマ、これあなたが持っていてくれたの。
シンジのやつが死ぬ前に錦から奪い返したんだ。
よかった。また帰ってきた。あなたが私にくれたたった一つのプレゼントだもんね。ありがとうね。私結局
Now, we did a great job at avoiding that explosion.
あなたからも錦山くんからも でもね、私後悔はないの。あなたを忘れないために、また記憶がなくなってしまっても思い出せるようにって、この入れ墨を入れたの。
Cool tattoo.
月下美人、一夜でもいい。
Reverse artist. Smaller on the inside.
もう一回カズマに会いたかった。その夢が叶ったの。お母さん。はるか、いい？はるかはどんなことがあっても逃げちゃダメ。逃げたら私みたいに幸せ逃がしちゃうから。いい
？I'd like to see more ongoing franchise media where like
逃げちゃ
two characters are just in a committed relationship, but I get that it's hard to do. I think actually Deadpool did a pretty good job with that, but then they like had to drop it for Deadpool 3. I think it's just like stories are driven by conflict, so like two people that just get along really well doesn't make for really interesting storytelling. I assume she was dead immediately, but I think they did it in a way that wasn't like fucking miserable. It wasn't like cynical. It didn't like happen for absolutely no reason. It is a little bit of fridging because it's kind of, you know, to affect Kiryu's character, but you have to do a couple things at the end.
しかし事情は後で話す。お前ら銃を下げろ。
I think they need to do a better job of explaining why this guy came around because it seemed like he was just like shit for the whole game.
Kiryu.
I guess they wanted to be a surprise.
だがこの山で逮捕されたらもうシャバに出れん。
Yeah, no kidding.
俺についてこい。
もういいんだ、伊達さん。ユミも錦も風間のおやっさんも
Right, he's standing.
もうみんないない。だから
What about Haruka?
人思いに逮捕してくれ。
ふざけるな。お前の戦いはまだ終わってねえはずだ。
I thought he was grabbing me by my shirt.
逃げるんじゃね
え。かけがえのない。
My God, dude, she's right there.
そうだ。お前が無所に行けばこの子はまた一人だ。お前それでもいいのか。
伊達さん。
He's a little dense. You gotta have slightly less common sense than the average person.
会長、待ってください。来やがったな。おい、桐生、こっちだ。
Pretty funny.
じゃあお前らしっかりやれよ。
行くぜ。
頼む。
Date's fine to be hanging out with Chairman Kiryu because you know he's just a good guy.
ちゃんと終わったのかよ。襲名式と引退式は。
ああ、義理は果たしたつもりだ。
しかし聞いたことねえよな。組長の襲名披露と引退式が同時なんてよ。
It's funny.
で、5代目は誰にしたんだ？
まあ、世良会長やおやっさんに恥ずかしくねえやつにしたよ。
ん？誰なんだ？
まあ、意外なやつだよ。
おい、元会長。つけられてるぞ。
え？
Not a lot of characters still alive.
おい、もしかし
We didn't
て
get a lot of time with
あ
him
いつが
either.
5代目なのか？
ああ、奴ならきっちり登場会を立て直すさ。
Just has the aura.
じゃあ行くぜ。
ああ、もう戻ってこないのか。
さあな。
Maybe in
また
Yakuza
伊
too.
達さんから呼ばれることがあれば来るかもしれないぜ。
そうか。
Like he's fucking
だが残念
Batman.
ながらそれはな
He
いと
put
思う
out the
ぜ。
Kiryu signal.
俺はしばらくさやと暮らしてみるよ。今までになかった家庭ってのを楽しんでみるさ。
おう。じゃあなおさら俺がいない方がいいな。
ああ、もう胃が痛い毎日とはおさらばだよ。
Majima's his life partner.
じゃあな、もう警察の世話になんじゃねえぞ。
大丈夫だ。あいつと一緒なんだからな。
そうだな。
How's he gonna get pulled away from this? She can get kidnapped. Yeah, so my final thought is I think that Amazing Grace really oh, this is gonna get copyright struck, isn't it? 95% of this game is really smart. I think that the story, just like I was praising with Yakuza 0, is just a very confident like TV crime drama. Really, really, really good. I do think that it kind of falls apart at the end. I don't think the stuff with Jingu really works. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball a bit with Nishiki. And it certainly hurts Yumi the most. Because, like, I think that they set up this idea that, like, she gets assaulted by the Dojima patriarch. She gets pregnant as a result. She can't bear to see her own child or whatever, or confront that she's her mother. So she puts her in an orphanage. She, like, descends into, like, the criminal underworld, gets a tattoo, does all these things that show that she's changed as a character, right? Maybe she does a bunch of criminal things as actually the one, like, directing most of the story. And then at the end, she can have a moment where she's, like, realizes, oh, I should embrace Haruka. And that way she can still die, because she probably needs to die if we're going to keep doing Yakuza games, but her death could be her, like, coming to terms with, I should be a mother or whatever the fuck. I shouldn't have abandoned Haruka, even though this horrible thing happened. I just think there was a more satisfying and self-contained way to wrap up the story that used the information we already had, that didn't require us to introduce a brand new character entirely in exposition, right? Like that feels so clunky. It feels like it must have been changed after the fact. I can't come up with any other explanation for why this Jingu guy doesn't appear in the story, in a story that is very well set up throughout. Like everything, they're like setting up every single beat. They're making sure that when we find out about the fact that, Mizumi isn't a different person, that doesn't come out of nowhere, that there's been something else in the main story that set it up directly. All that stuff is so, like, meticulously established. And then Jingu's like, oh yeah, and there's this guy, he was married to her or whatever. He's like a huge asshole or something. Like, what? Like, that's unfortunate that it kind of is a bit of a downer, I think, for an otherwise incredible story. In my mind, I can just imagine the story that I think it probably should have been. It wouldn't have to be changed terribly much. I think the animating force towards the end being a combination of, like, Nishiki and Yumi would be a lot more interesting. The middle of the story is a little fillery. Yeah, I guess the detour is generally still... I could tell when we were doing something that's like a detour, but it was usually trying to set something up for later, right? Like the whole bit about the forger has nothing to do with the main plot, but it sets up the idea that, oh, someone's entire identity could be forged, right? I think every single one does something like that, which is why it's so fucking bizarre that Jingu gets introduced out of nowhere at the end. I don't know if that's a censorship thing, that they're like, we can't have the female lead of the game have been sexually assaulted. We can't have our character going after someone who's abandoned her child like that. And so they tried to change it to be a little bit more boring, I guess. Less mature, maybe. I guess Nishiki, I'm trying to imagine, like, without all the extra Nishiki cutscenes, would be substantially less interesting if it was just like this guy at the beginning of the game who's now slick back evil hair man. So the extra cutscenes flesh him out a lot more, and really they actually make it seem like, okay, he's going to be our final encounter, and he's kind of the final encounter, but not really. Yeah, I suppose that's true. The game is still really good. I'm not. Unfortunately, it's the last thing I'm gonna remember about it, that they like fumbled at the very end, because like the rest of it is really, really, really well set up and articulated. The scenes are all really good. I think that the entire main story, except for the last like couple chapters, is fantastic, nearly flawless. I just think that it's like somebody else came in and finished somebody else's story. The side stories were good. The Majima stuff was good. The new stuff to Kiwami. I still don't like the gameplay. I don't know that I'll ever come around to it. I mean, maybe they'll make some substantial changes to it. I never feel like when I'm doing it that I'm doing it well. And I don't feel like I'm incentivized to get to play it well. Because I guess it exists in this middle ground where it's like, when you beat a boss in a game like Dark Souls, you don't have to feel like you're a badass. You just feel like, oh my God, I survived, thank God, right? And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have a game that's like pure power fantasy where you're just like fucking destroying everything all the time. And there's no challenge. And I can see how that can be interesting. But I feel like this game has that pure power fantasy when you're fighting like random street thugs. That always feels good. I don't hate that. Like just picking up a motorcycle and knocking down 7 guys is fun every single time. But unfortunately, they have to like slot boss fights into that, and the boss fights need to have guns and knives and shit. And I don't think it works. At least not for me. Maybe you play this game a lot, you get really, really good at the combat. You can like no-hit fights like that. But to me, it mostly feels like I'm just gonna press the X button, hope the enemy doesn't block or knock me down in the middle of my combo. And then if I get knocked down, I guess I'll sip a drink, right? And I think the Kiwami finishers were a cool idea. I wish that instead it was like the enemy prompts you to switch styles, and then there's like some kind of bar that can only be filled by attacking in that style. Because they kind of did the opposite. They're kind of like only switch to the style to activate the heat ability. Switch to the style, sip a drink, activate the heat ability, and then switch back. So it didn't really incentivize me to experiment. In fact, it felt like it meant that I couldn't use my heat because I had to conserve it for whenever that would happen or the fight would take twice as long. So I think that was kind of a interesting idea for an ability that unfortunately didn't really work out in the end. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was quite good, I think. I guess I'm still here for the story, not really here for the gameplay. So if it had almost no brawling, or if it exclusively had non-boss fight, street brawling, or if it treated the fights as just yet another mini game from a big list of crazy mini games, that would be cool. Describe the combat as competent to good mechanics with baffling balance issues. That's maybe a good way to put it, yeah. I can imagine a version of the game where the combat feels better. I think that a lot of my problems with the combat are like multiple conflating factors acting on each other. I think the upgrade system is problematic. Like we talked about, like having weapons in the first place is cool, but problematic for the actual substantial fights. I think it's like they want the combat to feel very proactive, but to do well at it, especially in boss fights, you have to be very reactive. Instead of being really aggressive, you kind of have to like hang back, roll constantly, wait for the exact moment where you can punch them mid-animation, because that's the only time you can guarantee that they're not going to block. I think enemies blocking feels kind of bad. It feels like there's not a lot of counterplay with it. I guess if you're in the rush style, you can do like a block break knee hit, right? But you'd think that that would be what grab is, but grab is so unreliable, and its unreliability seems to be, at least to a blind player, completely unpredictable. Like I was saying, indistinguishable from just random. I'm sure that there's some mechanic behind the scenes that governs it. But they don't really encourage you to experiment with grabbing, because if you fail to grab, it's pretty punishing compared to pressing any other button.
またしまったな。
この子と遊んでたから。私、もう行かなくちゃ。元気でね。
連れてくか。
ここにいればこの子はお母さんと会えるかもしれないから。あ、お母さん。ごめんね、ゆう
You don't have. Instead, you've got Kiryu. I hope they keep her around. I'm worried they're going to find some way to offload her. I'm just thinking about sequel problems, right? They keep doing the lone wolf and cub thing. I think that would be fun, but I would take that as like a writing challenge. Can I keep telling this crazy Yakuza story given that he's responsible for this little girl? But I think that would be too fucking hard.
おじさんは何歳までサンタさん信じてた？
え？いや、いくつだっけな。
信じてたんだ。
So you did believe.
悪かったな。
Nothing wrong with that. All right, I liked it. I think it was actually more brilliant than Zero up until the very end, and then it got kind of stupid. But I don't know why that is. I suspect that the direction I thought the story was going, it may have actually been the way it was going, and then it changed partway through for whatever reason. 21.88%. Legend difficulty has been unlocked. No, thank you. In fact, next time I feel like I should just play on easy, just because I think that that's my least favorite part of the game. We'll see. I enjoyed it, though. Thanks for voting for Yakuza Kiwami. I know Yakuza Kiwami 2 is on the voting system now, so excited to see that when it wins. Give me a few minutes to set up satellite range.